Welcome to Wizards Outlook. As always, we got Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarbay Jr., and Wizards fans. It was a tough night. Um, I think they went 1-5 on their homestand. Just hit the road tonight to take on Brooklyn. The Nets held off the Wizards 113 to 106. Five players scored in double figures for Washington. Five players scored in double figures for Brooklyn. But it's really, really simple. All the talk that Brooklyn doesn't play any defense and all that stuff, and a lot of that can be true. But what I can tell you is giving them extra possessions probably puts you in a disadvantage to a degree against a team that can score. The other thing we saw, Washington's bigs had some success tonight on one end of the floor. On the other end of the floor, folks had fun in the paint. Kyrie and James, they were literally doing the same thing Russ was doing, get into the paint, draw one, dump off, drop off, and it was that, man. But Washington had its chances and didn't make the most of them. The turnovers, and specifically the two who had the most turnovers that's not ideal. But we're gonna let Cardell and Ray get into this, and I'm gonna fall back and mind my business. But again, watching Wizards Outlook, and Brooklyn held off Washington 113-106.
Just real quick about joining the presser for Scott Brooks post game. He felt like turnovers were a result of poor spacing. He said, especially in the first half, he said in the second half they did better, but it dug him a hole. Just not spacing the ball and everybody being crowded. On the last play, I know people kind of crying about that. The strategy was to trap Kyrie, to hopefully force a turnover or steal. And they did a good job. Russell did a good job of trapping him. They knocked the ball loose, but nobody really went after the ball. Kyrie recovered it. And Scott Brooks said as soon as Kyrie recovered it, one of those guys should have just fouled him, to save time. But instead, Kyrie got the ball, dribbled out, and ran the clock out. And obviously, that goes back to early in the season when they had Scott Brooks on the last possession play. Why didn't the Wizards call a timeout? He said he didn't really trust his team to do that, to execute that. Here we go again. There's more proof of that, or why. Also, Brooks said the bench gave them nothing outside of Lopez. He said, guys weren't mentally ready to play tonight. He said especially the bench. They weren't ready mentally and locked into play. And he said that's the easiest thing to do in basketball. There's no excuse for not being that, especially being a reserve player. So it put more pressure on the starters to have to, handle business. And they were close. It was a winnable game, but obviously they didn't get it done. Russell Westbrook, technically he had an amazing game, but we keep on this show. When you turn the ball over eight times, and more than likely they scored on every time off that, you give them 16 points back. You played an okay game as a point guard. You just can't have that many turnovers, man. It kills momentum. It kills any run you hoping to go on, or if you're on it, it just deflates your team. Then you gotta work twice as hard to make up for that. You just can't have that, man. The Wizards centers finally played a good game. Robin Lopez and Alex Len combined for 32 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks on 14 and 21 shooting. If you would have said they were coming into this game that they was going to give the Wizards that production, I'm like, the Wizards win. Because it's been bad from that position, but they came to play, which makes this L even more deflating. That they came to play, they won inside, they won their matchup. And the Wizards still came out with a loss. I felt Rui played well, and it's getting better and better. It goes back to a few games ago when I was like, Rui has to understand he's the third option. He need to be more aggressive. He got at least have 15 or more shots. Tonight he only took 11, but he made 9 of them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I need at least 15 shots from Rui to keep things honest because he's capable. He's a 3-level scorer. I think he just was deferring too much. In the last few games, he's been picking it up. 20 points and 10 rebounds. That's right where his talent can be. Like he can literally, I can see him averaging that for the majority of his career if he stay healthy or whatnot. That's a good stat line for him. I felt like the Nets did a good job of keying on Bill, throwing bodies at him, boxing ones, forcing us to beat him. Remember a few games ago, we said Memphis pretty much gave the league a blueprint on how to beat the Wizards. Somebody else beat us, and then we adjust. and no one has really stepped up and done that. So it's going to continue until, like Scott Brooks said, guys make shots, especially from three. Speaking of 3-point shooting, even with Bertans, the Wizards are like 28%. 28th in the league in shooting 3-point. It shrinks the floor. You know what I mean? It shrinks the floor, so it makes it harder to score when they don't have to worry about you from the outside. I already talked about the Wizards bench. I also feel like the Wizards backside defense fell asleep way too many times, which you cannot do with elite scorers like James Harden and Kyrie Irving, because they pretty much made them pay every time. They combined for 14 assists, but I know the scoring kind of opened things up. But Joe Harris went 3 for 7. Honestly, they got lucky because if they would have hit their normal amount of threes, Nets, it would have been a blowout. That's the only thing that saved them tonight because the Wizards were a step or two slow and recognizing guys being open, rotating, staying with their man, being aware. And you just can't do that against an explosive team like the Nets. Obviously, you touched on the turnovers. 27 points off 19 Wizards turnovers. That's the game right there, man. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing we can really say. And Russ was in double agent mode. Eight turnovers. Brad Beal had 6. And to make matters worse, all the other Wizards combined only had 5. So this is one game where you got to look at the stars. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. You can't have that many turnovers, man. You just giving the team you just basically handing them a W. No matter what the others do, no matter what you score, it's just too hard in the NBA to overcome all that. Blake Griffin showed he still has some juice left. We all knew he was kind of holding back a little bit. He had to dunk. We ain't seen him dunk in 2 years, but he was saving those legs. Now he got some more umph and stuff. So as he get back in rhythm and in shape, you're gonna see signs of the old Blake Griffin, which is good for the Nets. I guess you know what I mean. But last but not least, Nicholas Claxton, man, they got somebody with him, man. They got a young, another DeAndre Jordan, a young version of DeAndre Jordan. That's what they got. So 16 points and 3 blocks off the bench. He pretty much outplayed the entire Wizards bench by himself. So he's perfect. He's a perfect complement to what they got going on. Because when in doubt, KD, James Harden, Kyrie, dump it off to him, and he's dunking everything. So that's the game, man. That's what I have for this game, man. I'm looking more at the stars in this game because you just can't do that, especially on the road. You understand what the deal is. The bench didn't play well. You got to take care of the ball, man. There's no getting around it. 27 points off turnovers, bro. Like you just gave them a W.
Right.
I mean, it's really not too much to add, man. But just to piggyback off Cardell, you got to look at Brad and Russ for a game like this. Especially when you mention that the front line finally came to play. That's supposed to be in addition to what Brad and Russ give you. They're supposed to be the consistent ones that kind of guide the ship every night, and everybody else got to catch up to them. The front line did their job, and and Brad and Russ didn't. It's that simple. The turnovers, the decision making. Wilson, you was talking about before we got on that pull up 3 Russ took, down the stretch. That's a bad shot. You can't do that, man. You're in a position to make it a game, again against the top team in the league, and you just kind of throw it away with empty possessions, man. That's just kind of been their MO throughout the season, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, man, it's just typical Wizards stuff. Yeah, they had a chance. They started off fast. They started turning the ball over. Brooklyn took advantage. Kyrie and Harden woke up, and from then on out, you just put yourself in a bad position. When you're not crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. Like, you gotta check off as many boxes as you can, and they checked off a box tonight that they don't usually get. So, like you said, Cardell, if you look into the future and look at the box score and see the Wizards front line producing like that, you got to think that that's going to be a win for them. But, other things happened and they didn't take care of business, and we got the result that we got.
Yeah, this is just one of those nightly reminders. Yeah, clearly their front court did a good job. How is it that everybody in the league can keep accidentally finding young athletic bigs that can run the floor, protect the paint, and you still can't? It's ridiculous. It like you're running like it's getting to the place now where, and we've been talking on the college shows, like we're in a place where like there's all different types of bigs entering this league every freaking year over like the last 4. You have to find one. Claxton came off the bench and murdered you from doing. It's not like they ran one play for the young man. Ain't do nothing but set screens, run, over and over. And what happened? They found him. And Carter, I know I love what you mentioned. I know you said Brooks was talking about their spacing was trash tonight. And the other thing that was crazy is the only person who was calm with the spacing being whatever and it didn't bother them was Rui, because he lives in that, oh my God, that mid-range area, which he's like, ooh, elbow jumper. Cool, I'll take one of those. Oh, another elbow jumper. I'll take another one of those. That was it.
That's his game.
Yeah, and he's comfortable. He's like, cool, I'll leave that. But to me, I was sitting here the whole time. I was like, this is so disrespectful. If I'm another player on the Wizards. At times, they were sending 3 at Beal and was like, I don't care about the rest of y'all.
Why should they?
You know what I'm saying? And it's a bad defensive team making that decision. They already not.
Why should they? I told you they in playoff mode. They trying to get these wins, get home court. That's what they on. Garrison Matthews 2 for 5. He's only shooting if he's wide open outside 3. That's when he get the ball. Who else? I mean, just being honest.
No,
Bonga. All right, moving on. Denny. Denny. He looked like a rookie. He got a lot to figure out. They Neto. I mean, he had 4 assists and 3 rebounds, but you know what that was? That was just Kyrie abusing him. Like I'm gonna cook this dude. So he put him on his heels and took him out the game. You know, Kyrie's offense was his defense on that.
Yep.
Everybody else, Gil, Troy Brown, Mo Wagner, Brooks like, nope. I ain't doing that to myself. Like, he don't have any options.
And then again, to compound that, your 2 best players turning the ball over 14 times. The room for error.
That's where you kind of miss Ish.
Yep.
That's where you kind of miss Ish. You know what I'm saying? You gotta Ish don't turn the ball over like that. He makes a good decision. So that's where you miss him, man. So yeah, man. We definitely miss TB. Like you said, TB about to get 9 figures.
No, it's the easiest negotiation ever. Pay me or I'm out. Because I'm looking at the rest of it. My value going up on a nightly basis. On a nightly basis.
Man.
It's just not a good look. Coming up next before we touch on the comments. Just to let you guys know, I know they got a day off and they got the Knicks coming up. And you know, that physical front line. So again, like you guys said, you wasted 2 really good bullets tonight from your front court, right? You know Julius and company coming through tomorrow night, and Julius is a whole handful to deal with down there because no one on Brooklyn's as physical. You know, they're not bullying the China shop like Julius Randle is, and it's gonna be tough. And again, it's another team where the one thing you know about any Tom Thibodeau coach team, they just scrap for the entire game. They don't know any other thing in life. So again, if you're in Washington, you come in there in a couple nights, you go into that Garden with anything less than matching that intensity, it's going to be a long night. It just is what it is. But all right, let's go ahead and get to these comments from the fans real quick. We appreciate your comments as well. Let me pull them up on my phone before I put them on screen. I told you I'm old and my eyes going bad. Man.
Go ahead and come over to the dark side, dog. Get you some glasses, man.
Nah, they not that bad, bro. Leave me alone, man. I ain't trying to join yet. I'm trying to save off a little time. All right, so this is from Jarrell Higgins. Somebody need to look a little deeper at the team. They have various reasons why they started off so slow, but they are still currently a playoff team. Parentheses, just trying to come back to life. They're one Andre Drummond or Nikola Vucevic away from being an Eastern Conference finalist, and maybe one more solid piece, 6-man in parentheses, away from winning a championship. I'm gonna let y'all have that. So, mama business. Actually, let me keep this up. So, y'all go ahead.
Go ahead, Raymond.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to politely disagree. They just got a lot of stuff going on, man. Like, even if they do add those pieces and Russ continues to make the decisions he makes, and that overall defensively, they're going to need to get a whole lot better. The bench is going to need to get a whole lot better. They got a long ways to go. Like as is, if they played at their max, they're going to be in the lower half of the playoff pool. And that's just them. Those good games we saw. That's them doing that every single night. Obviously, they're nowhere near that level of consistency. So yeah, man, we got a long way to go before we start talking about conference finalists and championships and all that other stuff. We got to get to a place where people can even rotate properly on defense every game. So it's nice to be optimistic, but it's better to be realistic. So yeah, man, appreciate the comment, but yeah, they're a far cry from what's being described here.
Well, one, bringing them Nikola Vucevic don't make sense because the Magic damn sure not let him go. That's their best player. He's the all-star. So, and if he is to go somewhere, I'm pretty sure they would trade him to a team where they can get some value back. They're not getting that back from the Wizards. I mean, what they gonna do? Trade him straight up for Bill? All right, so we know that's not gonna happen. So no, I don't know where Vucevic came from. I get it. Andre Drummond's on the block or whatever. They try to find a place for him. The reason why it's taking so long, they're trying to get value. Once again, there is no value on the Wizards. Who would want these players? And I'm just being honest. I'm not disrespecting. Just being honest, being real. They're not gonna. If anything, they would ship him to one of these playoff teams because they know his pieces over there. But that's why it's taking so long. Other teams trying to see how their team mesh right now, and if they have a legit shot at making a deep run. If they don't, you will probably see Andre Drummond pop up somewhere soon. So that's what it is. If you don't have any assets, so to speak, that means talent on your roster that can help us. Even if it's young talent, we can develop it. And picks in the future. Why are we talking? They're not even answering the phone. So, I mean, and then if you do get Drummond, what does that mean for Thomas Bryant, who's probably coming up as a free agent and all that on his contract extension? Well, no, he just signed it actually this morning. So my point is, what's going to happen when he come back? They pretty much similar type players, play the same type of role. I know Drummond's more experienced and more developed than Thomas Bryant right now, but they're dirty work type of bigs, rebound, finish side type bigs. So it makes no sense to even go there. The Wizards have a lot. They need a lot of, they need a lot of work on their roster. It's just they can't keep missing in the draft. Outside of Rui, is obviously Denny. We gotta give him time. It's gonna take a long time. Troy Brown Jr., with all due respect, it is what it is. It looks like that wasn't a good pick. They need a lot of talent overall, man. And you better hope it happens sooner than later. Because when Bill has to make that decision, you can't fault him for looking elsewhere because he can't spend his prime years in this type of situation. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, my only 2 cents there is Drummond, there's gonna be value. You have to have it. It's just that simple. And for you to get him, you're not a playoff team because the price of getting one of those is losing the guy that probably makes you a playoff team. So I'm just going to be completely honest. It's going to cost you, like Cardell said, from an asset standpoint, you got the dude who's leading the league in scoring. You got your youngsters. Those are the assets.
Yeah.
That, like, not being mean, just being honest. Like, even right now, there's a couple reports floating around, and they might be trying to quietly shop Bertans, but to keep it a buck, you bid it against yourself with the price tag. That's not going to help you right now trying to move him. Because, yeah, it's a good shooter, or whatever, and that's wonderful. But again, whatever he's put on film this year, man, that's depreciating value.
Yeah.
Just being perfectly honest here, because that's the thing, is it's a business of assets. You can't you can't expect to go get something good without giving up anything. Unless unless like the outside of that is that you're already a good team and people buy folks out and then people will come play for you for less. But that's not your issue. There's nothing, you cannot relate to one of those teams at all because you're at the opposite end of the spectrum looking at those teams. So yeah, it's tough, man. Like, again, like, we're gonna keep harping on this. This is why sometime in the last couple of years, and it's a good thing that they did get TB and TB's developed into what TB's become. You not getting young bigs in the past couple of years, it's biting you in the you know what right now. It's tough. Like even when you stumbled across TB and it worked, that's great. What was the rule against getting another one? Like is there a rule you can only have one? I'm watching other teams pull 4 of them, 3, 4 off the roster. Just like, all right, you didn't do it tonight. Let me bring another one in.
It just ain't make sense. Just think about it. More athletic bigs is more than just running the floor and blocking shots. When they got a hedge out on guards on the pick and roll, they can actually stay with them long enough for the guards to recover and get back to them. That's what be killing. That's what kills the Wizards. Lopez and them, they're not quick enough, and Lamb probably to do the best job, but their forwards, Denny, a lot of their front court, they too slow. So the guards just spray on them. And Bill Russ Neto, Ish, whoever's that guard, they don't even have enough time to recover, fight over the screen to get back to him. By that time, the guard is already past the big, laying it up, or getting a shot off, or passing it to the corner, some opposite side, on the same side for a 3. It's like clockwork, man. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, fine, if y'all gonna do this, go this analytic pack, y'all better have some athleticism to protect y'all, and length and size, and I mean, there you go. So
sometimes it's just that simple. The second comment we had is from Al. At the moment, Neto, Matthews, Rui, and Russ are on the same tier to me defensively. Russ steps up specifically on clutch, defending the best player like KD and Giannis. Also, rebound is part of defense. The bad defender that we have would be Denny and Bertans. Denny is just a bit too soft, though he's a rookie, but he needs to step up as he's been given minutes. On the other hand, Bertans is Bertans, nothing we can do about it. Bill is playing mostly bad, but he's picking it up recently. He's not a liability on defense if he tries to defend, but again, he's scoring a lot, and he's not hard and bad, so I will take it as he's getting crushed and chased by the defense. All right, so I'm going to fire off my 2 little quick cents real quick, then I'm going to retire off this one. All right, so everybody you name, not named Rui, bad defender. We're talking about just as far as individual defense goes. Not being mean, being honest. There's a reason you see Brooks routinely night to night. Rui gets rotated on 2, 3 different people. After Rui, like, it might be Garrison Matthews.
Or Neto.
Or Neto and Garrison Matthews.
But he's just small.
And which he can't do anything about. So even him trying at his best, food. Some of the bigger and better guards in this league. Again, not entirely his fault. Just exactly, it is what it is. And then that plays into the larger thing I think we were talking about this a couple of nights ago, where even if you got a couple good defenders, but they got some things where you don't have the, in the league today, you need those need defenders with length. You don't really have any outside of Rui. Other teams got 3, 4 random 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" dudes. Like Cardell was just talking about bigs that can move. We saw Brooklyn tonight for quite a while. Like, they would switch and Claxton on one of the guards, and they just left them there. It took Washington, and that allowed some of the Washington bigs to eat when the ball got rotated back around. But that was them eating on a mismatch, not them picking on Claxton. Where if it's the other way around and it's the Wizards, and you leave one of their bigs out on somebody, we all know how it ends up. And I'm not saying Clax is the end all be all. I'm just using an example from the night where again, the boy didn't get it. Like, they couldn't pick on him in one-on-one situations, which is, as a young big, that's all you ask him to do, right? Is if we have to switch, hold your own. And even if that, that ball gets rotated, whatever, say in a couple weeks, a couple folks on Brooklyn are healthy again, there's another footer on the backside of that who's not healthy right now. But again, with Washington, you can't do any of those things. You're just stuck. Literally every night we watch other teams just, that's the matchup I want. No, not that one. Over and over, and nothing can really be done about it. And the thing with Bill, like we just finished talking about it, is I hear you, like maybe obviously Harden could be the line and what really, really bad defense is, and that's cool. But if you're in a conversation or not that far away from him, I don't want to really hear it. And the worst part is we've seen you do better, so it's not like it's like this invisible thing. We're like, well, I wonder if he could. Now we've seen you do better. The other thing, I will never, ever, 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 ever be okay with this whole notion that just because you're doing whatever on offense means you can't do anything on defense. I don't care. Don't want to hear about it. That's horrible. It's lazy. And if you're going to be the guy and talked about as the guy and treated as the guy, move your feet on the other end, man. Especially like on a night-to-night, like him and Russ were off ball while Kyrie and James were picking on other people. What's stopping you from helping when poor Garrison Matthews is on an altar dying? You can slide over. There was no, not once was somebody like, oh, let me get Garrison's back. I could help stop the drive and then recover back to the corner. I'm gonna stay in my corner. That's what you
do. And Garrison helping them. When he rotate, he may get beat and he might be on the basket. They'll dump it off to Claxton and he'll go up and try to contest Claxton. He the only one like leaving it all out there though on defense, man. So it's just but it can't just be one or two people, man. It got to be more than that. And that's why they get easy basket. That's how they score.
It's really just that simple. Ray, you had anything you want to add?
Not really, man. It's a lot of criticism to go around on that end. Like Cardell said, the only one that really, just lays it all out on the line consistently is Garrison Matthews. And Neto too, but like y'all said, a lot of times he's just too small to do anything. So that is what it is. But everybody else, man, there's some times when what they're doing is just inexcusable. Even from players' experiences, Russ and Bill, like they fall asleep a lot. Like y'all just brought up, they don't help. It's so you can't accept that from them. Like if they setting the tone with that type of defense, then what you expect the rest of the team to do? So I mean, yeah, we gotta, and like you said, Wilson, I don't care that Bill's averaging 32. If you give it back up on the other end, then it don't like it's useless. So we need to let go of that whole mentality, period. But yeah, man, it's a lot of people to blame for the way the Wizards play defense.
Look, man, we grew up watching Jordan and Kobe. They put points on the board and they logged in defensively. It's no excuse. I don't want to hear from nobody, no other player. I don't care. No, I mean, I just don't care. You got to play that in. Unless they change the rules and make it like football, you just play one in. Fine.
Exactly.
But other than that, no, you got to take that challenge. I mean, Harden and the big game built badly. So it is what it is. They got the W. They were more efficient. More points of all. I mean, Bill, and then the thing is, Bill ain't even get his average. If he got his average, they win. So you didn't even get your average. And defensively, you weren't in, and you turned the ball over. Come on, man.
My bad. Before we close out, y'all want to hear this quote from Nick Claxton?
Oh, boy.
Nick Claxton relishes the opportunities he gets to guard the best scorers like Russell Westbrook. He adds, I wasn't able to switch at all last year, so he's looking forward to being in and switching 1 through 5. People looking forward to trying to stop people on the other end. And, some of y'all out here wondering, looking for the big answer, like go trade for that person and this person. Like, just
pride. It's just pride.
Like that sounds like a kid that's legit proud of himself. That last year, I know I wasn't on the floor because I couldn't slide my feet. It's just pride.
Defense is 3 principles. You get low man wins, move your feet, stay between your man and the goal. You ain't got to rip dudes and all. Just do that. You'd be surprised how many times dudes miss, man. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, and they get frustrated, then you in their head. That's all you got to do. These dudes will close out standing up, and they already not that athletic. I'm like, dude, why? Like, you might just stay where you was and let the man get the 3. You know what I'm saying? Get the lower percentage shot. Like, it's just, yeah, man. They get
the principles, man. It's interesting. Sometimes things are so simple. We're gonna get to some of these college shows tonight because it's crazy. Some of these upsets we're seeing is because people are doing these little things that, you know, some folks think aren't that important. Those little things like controlled closeouts, understanding your rotations, communicating on the defensive end. It plays a very, very big role in the winning, and it carries on the next level too, contrary to some people's belief, where it's just like, I could score and everything's great. Mind you, not to be too petty, you know, that backcourt that plays no defense on the other end, somebody got a very clean rip at the end of the game when possessions matter.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, mind my business. Like, you got flat earth plucking people with the game, like, you know, in a one possession game. They can find some type of pride even for 2 or 3 minutes. What's your excuse in 48? That's bad. But we're gonna see you guys Tuesday night because I want to get off here before I continue to go down this petty rabbit hole. We got a lot more stuff coming out tonight. We got both editions of Within the Madness. The women's tournament started today. And then, you know, the men's, they still don't know how to act on that end. So more upsets and fun things to talk about. Before we get off, Coach Hall, I think you're a perfect example of what Cardell just said about effort and Steph Curry. Not great, but he always plays hard on defense. Look, no one's asked you to do anything too much, but I don't know. Give a you-know-what on that end of the floor, and you'll be surprised. It goes a long way.
Actually, this season,
he's been good.
And I don't like that because they going off Steph early in his career. Actually, this season, he's been strapping up. And he's honestly been doing it the last couple of years. He honestly started being a good, solid defender when KD got there because they had to give up so much to get KD as far as centers and stuff. So Curry let it be known, like, you're going to have to hold your own more than what you're doing, dog. And he did that. And he's actually playing good defense, man. Like, it's like once you get a rep, people don't let it go.
Right.
They say you need to get better at something, then when you do it, they don't want to let it go. It's like the BS with Wiggins and stuff. They still be waiting for him to have a bad game so they can say he's trash or something, but he's not. I mean, damn, he just had, like, he hooping. He just he gave that Memphis squad 40. Look what that Memphis squad did to the leading scorer in the NBA twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the boy could ball a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And did it in their crib, it ain't at home without Steph. So what more do you want? You know what I'm saying? He basically won the game. So Steph can defend. You know what I mean? It hasn't been throughout his whole career, no, but the last few years he's been solid, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot better what we're seeing from what we got here in DC.
Again, I gotta leave before I start piling on
perspective, man.
It's a low bar. It's a very, 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 very low bar. And again, Tuesday night, they get a night off to think about it, man. They staying in New York for the next few days. Barclays, then you got Garden, and like, man, I wish you the best. They
gonna see what real defense look like. The next
they really don't. So we see you guys in a little bit for the Within the Madness. We got the women's coming up, the women's edition coming up next because it was the first day of the tournament, followed by the men's.